right, we are back. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Another week, another conspiracy. Welcome to Trash Conspiracy, the show where I try to connect the dots between all the bullshit you've ever heard and let you know the real truth about mostly the Illuminati. I want to get a couple of plugs out of the way. Um, Big shout out to I haven't done this yet, and I'm probably a little bit overdue. Big shout out to Irish O'Neill and Annie Moosh or Annie Moosh. I always say her name wrong. She's okay with it.
Everybody does.
But no, they're dope. They've been helping me produce this, and they run so many amazing podcasts throughout the city. Second shout out to Brianna Woodward, who is running basically every other show you see in Boston right now. And then shout out to myself. I am going to be doing a brand new podcast on Saturday, mostly about wrestling, which leads me in to today's conspiracy theory. This is a little bit lighter. We're not going into the entire government today. We're just going into the government of the WWE. For those who aren't familiar with the Montreal Screwjob, that's what we're doing today. Simply, people believe it's just a screw job. Personally, I still believe the entire thing's a work. It was all made up. All made up. And I'm gonna go over. I'm just gonna jump right in. If you don't know what the Montreal Screwjob is, it's Bret Hart was leaving the WWE. Maybe it was still WWF at the time. I don't know. That's a whole different conspiracy. But he was leaving for WCW while still holding the belt, and what was supposed to be a disqualification match ended with Shawn Michaels winning the belt, with the bell being rung prematurely. And there are people in the industry who still don't know what's going on, but I can tell you right now, there are four people, who knew what happened that night. Number one, Bret Hart. Number two, Shawn Michaels. Number three, Earl Hebner. The ref has to know what's going on. And of course, Vince McMahon. Now, the weird thing I find about this entire controversy is that nobody has a story that consistently fits with either one. All of them tell kind of a different story of getting screwed. Well, except for Vince, because Vince is a dick and he doesn't get screwed. Vince does the screwing. That's what you need to know right off the bat. But no, everybody has like this different weird account of the events that led to it and the events that happened immediately after. And I just want to point to my core piece of evidence is essentially just the reaction in the ring. Because immediately afterwards, one, everybody did a terrible job of acting. Nobody sold the finish. I guess Bret was mad. Shawn didn't seem surprised. Let's be honest, there's a reason Shawn Michaels was never in fucking film. At least Bret showed up on Mad TV, you know what I'm saying? No, he did an absolute terrible job of selling it, and everything he has said afterwards has just confirmed that it was awful. But my number one thing is immediately after the bell was rang, the camera just had the perfect shot of Bret spitting on Vince. You don't just accidentally get the perfect shot. You see it like You can even see the spit on the side of his head as he's wiping it off. Now, the another thing I really, really don't like is the story of the aftermath in backstage, because nobody really has an accurate account of this. They say that Brett went to Vince's office and basically waited on him to come out. The Undertaker had to tell Vince that you owe him at least an apology. So they say. And according to a lot of sources, Vince came out and Brett punched him in the face. Now, no, some people, Shawn Michaels says that Vince let Brett punch him in the face. Brett himself says that he knew he was just going to punch him in the face, and Vince said he was pretty sure Brett was going to. Shawn has even said that Vince took a dive, which bullshit. All of this is bullshit. Nobody got punched in the face. Nobody got punched in the face. Vince McMahon, bring him back up. Vince McMahon, he orchestrated this entire thing. Everybody is in on it. All the four people, bring up the column. All four of these people knew what the fuck was going on. They still know to this day. They still know that all of this is bullshit. This is all a work. There was no screw job. Because at the time, Vince McMahon was going through some legal issues about performing enhancing drugs and steroids, and whether or not wrestling was actually real or if it was still staged. And I believe Vince McMahon orchestrated all of this to blend the line between reality and kayfabe so that we don't even know what's real anymore. And why would Vince McMahon want to do that? Why? Because Vince McMahon is the true leader of the Illuminati.
Nope. We're not having this. Nope. No, you didn't. No, you're not. And no, you won't. Absolutely not. We're not having any of it. No. No. Do you understand the one word, two letters? No.
Well, let me start by welcome, Lloyd. I don't know how you got this number, but
yeah, thanks, Vaiden. I appreciate you going on your little tangent. You are so, oh my God. Yeah. Here's what's happening right now, Mr. Panda, is you're so full of crap. Your eyes are brown, and when you go to sleep tonight, you're going to cry tears of pure bullshit. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, you don't even remember what, you said it right there on camera. I don't know if it was the WWF or the WWE. First of all, it didn't become the WWE until 7 years later. And if you had any idea what was going on at the time that you are so inclined to tell people you know about, you would at least know that the Pandas had not made Vince McMahon tap out just yet. That's the first thing.
Well, I mean, I'm a trash panda.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Time for you to speak. I believe that you've said enough in order to mislead everybody that's listening to your show, which, by the way, is not a good way to endear yourself to an audience that's supposed to trust you. Secondly, we have a situation where you are saying at the time of the Montreal Screwjob, Vince was dealing with a situation with the performance-enhancing drugs and whether or not wrestling was real or fake. All that stuff took place 3 years and 7 years before the screw job even happened. Your timeline is more screwed up than Donald Trump's tweet timeline. Do you understand how fucked up your timeline is to have to be in order to make his look coherent and sequenced? That's the second thing. Third thing, you point out accurately that nobody sold the finish. You know why nobody sold the finish?
Because there was no finish. It was all work.
Oh no, please, but put the teeth back in your mouth and then bite your tongue and hold it there. Just don't let it bleed because it's a pandemic and you might get sick. Now, we have a situation where you are actually telling a little bit of truth. That's what the best mainstream media does. They tell a little bit of truth just to sand it all in there, and then they wash over you with a bunch of falsehoods.
Sorry, Lloyd. This is not mainstream media.
It's not mainstream media, but they taught you well because you know how to take a little bit of truth and then wash it all over the rest of the crap you're spewing. You made Pinocchio's nose look like a giant dick. That's what you're doing right now. First of all, Vince McMahon had very much orchestrated the screw job itself. He gave it the okay. But do you know why nobody sold the finish? Because in wrestling, you don't sell something if you don't know that it was going to happen. You sell a shot coming to your face because you knew it was coming. You sell something that you saw coming in the script, and when it happens, you sell it. Oh my God. You know what you don't sell? You do not sell unscripted shoot moments. So right there in your own dialogue,
but Sean,
you're done. What you did, Trash Panda, is you proved your brand correct in the worst way. You gave a trash conspiracy that I'm going to take right now and throw in the bin, just like Alundra Blaze did the women's title back in WCW.
But even Shawn Michaels said he knew the finish.
Shawn Michaels said what?
That he knew the finish before he went out to the ring.
Yes, Shawn Michaels knew the finish. Bret Hart didn't know the finish.
Yes,
Shawn
he did.
Michaels,
yes, he did.
Shawn Michaels.
Because he asked that referee to have his back.
No, you don't, because you don't even know. You don't even know whether or not the Pandas took over in '97. So who are you to tell me what Shawn Michaels said back then? Shawn Michaels and Triple H and Vince McMahon and Earl Hebner, they knew the finish. Bret Hart didn't. And that's the person who wasn't supposed to know the finish. The only person who wasn't supposed to know didn't know. And that, once again, of course Shawn Michaels knew. He was in on it. So once again, Bret Hart wasn't supposed to know, and Bret Hart did not. So in this very discussion, you pointed out that you do not know what the company was called at the time of the screw job. You pointed out you do not know what the PED investigation, and when he said it was a work, you didn't know that he said that in the early 90s at a New Jersey commission, and you can't even point out the fact that the PED had already passed 2 years before the screw job, so your timeline's again screwed up. And then you say, well, Shawn Michaels said he knew the finish. He was supposed to, Bret was not. 1, 2, 3 strikes, Barry Bonds ripoff. You're out.
All right. Can we?
No, we can't. I'm not going to sit here and listen to you berate the people. I'm not going to hear. We're not going to have this. Not in front of me. Not in front of me. You want to lie to the people? You want to lie to your base? You can do that by yourself. I'm out of here. I can't deal with it. I won't deal with it. It's
Okay. So I'm not sure how Lloyd was able to interject into my show. We have pretty good encryption here in the studio. Unless, as previously stated in episode 2, Lloyd really is the leader of the Illuminati. He just got mad that I called Vince instead of him. I think the rant speaks for itself. I don't know. That was weird, guys. That was super weird. I think we just proved Lloyd's the leader of the Illuminati again. Fuck. I guess the Montreal job was just a screw job. I really wanted it to be a work. You guys, that's it tonight. I forgot to feature my martini at the beginning of the show, but don't worry, because right after this, I'm going to post another little bonus of how to... The first episode of Trash Panda Drinks is going to pop up not too long after this. I keep forgetting to say this every time I do an episode. Please like it, subscribe, do that shit. Do the shit that everybody else tells you to do. Please. All right, with that said, Trash Conspiracies, tune in, get fucked.